Hello, everybody, and a happy Friday to you, August 22nd. This is the Sports Insanity Podcast live on the SIN Sports Insanity Network YouTube channel. My name is Danny Boy Reginald. I'm with who today?
What's up, folks? Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy here.
What am I talking about? This man is very recognizable and needs no introduction, but might as well introduce yourself anyway.
What's going on, folks? Happy Friday, folks. We made it through another week.
Made it through another week indeed. As always, this podcast is sponsored by the Dugout of Millwood. Um, 440, 440 episodes down and a lifetime to go, hopefully. Um, so the Giants had their last preseason game.
Yes, they did. And Dart looking good.
Dart looking good for sure. Um,
Dart throwing some darts.
Yeah. I believe what did Dable say? He's confident, he's aggressive, and all that type of stuff.
You know what?
Singing his praises.
You know what? I think Jackson Dart might be the guy. Now, call me crazy,
Yeah.
but
Um,
Jackson Dart might be the guy. In other words, you know this, I know this. Because Brian Dable is probably thinking, hey, Jackson, you're my ticket for at least another season here after this year.
yeah.
Because what did I say before the draft? I said if Sean and Dable don't get their shit together, they gone. They gone.
Yeah.
They gone. They're gone. No one cares. We we wish you the best.
Yeah. And and that's the bottom line there. You have Brian Dable, you have Joe Shane. They're all in a tough spot. They have to succeed now. That's the expectation. Look, I think it's not an unfair expectation, but it's a lot. It is a lot for them. So they are really riding on this Jackson Dart fellow as the guy that is going to ultimately not only save them, but save the Giants. The Giants need a lot of saving. So very happy to see that throughout this preseason and throughout the training camp, um, that there has been a lot of progress being made with the quarterback position. Obviously, Russell Wilson gets the starting job. He gets starting nods week one. Um, I forget but who's second on that chart. Is it still Jameis Winston?
It's
Um,
either Winston or Wilson.
okay, so
And also DeVito is playing a little bit, but I've been saying this. I think his time in New York is over.
he's done. And
We wish him well. I wish him the
yeah,
best in his future endeavors, but he's
yeah.
he's done.
This is about Jackson Dart. This is about developing him and for look, they have time, but I'm be real with you. Like, if we see 1 ounce of struggle with Russ, I would put in Jackson Dart immediately.
Because that's the thing here is with I wasn't happy when they got Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston. I'm like, okay, when they got Winston, like, okay, then they got Dart. I'm like, why are we getting two veteran quarterbacks? Like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, okay, they better draft someone or I'm gonna take something and throw it at my TV. And then when they drafted Dart, I'm like, okay. And in other words, but no, Jackson Dart is Dable's ticket to staying in New York. Because you know what it is, to be fair, now Brian Dable has his own quarterback. He
Yeah.
has his guy.
Mhm.
Last year he got stuck with Daniel Jones from the Gettleman era.
Well, he was stuck with Jones, but it was their choice too. Let's be honest about it. You know,
But now Dable can mold a guy, can mold this guy.
Exactly. And could really use his offensive ability, something that Daniel Jones, and look, we congratulate him for getting the starting job in Indianapolis, but like, it just goes to show you, like, if Jackson Dart could be this effective in the Brian Dable system, like it speaks more about Jones and everything. But we have to really see how everything goes from here on out. Giants in 2 weeks, they go to Washington to play the Commanders, and um, yeah, it'd be a real test throughout the year. I think any sign of struggle from Wilson, you yank him. Don't even. I know you pay him a lot of money. I get it. There's too much on the line from this coaching staff, from this front office to be playing games. So that's on the Giants end. Giants won winning big against New England, but again, preseason, take it as you wish. Um,
But no, I think Jackson Dart might be the guy.
yeah, let's see if he is. Let's see.
Because now Brian Dable can mold his own quarterback. He doesn't get stuck with leftovers.
Yeah,
And did you hear Daniel Jones is going to be the starting quarterback for Indy this year?
yeah.
Good luck, Indy.
And,
You're going to need it.
and like I said before, a couple minutes ago, we hope we congratulate him for getting the starting job. By the way, that speaks a lot about Richardson. Um, that the fact that he gets beaten out by Daniel Jones, who we know what we're getting out of Daniel Jones, and the fact that Richardson, who was a top 5 draft pick, is now going to be benched second string for Jones. That's a bad sign if you're the Indianapolis Colts and you done fucked up. I'm just calling it like it is.
No, bro, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I'm with you. And you know what? I think in the Indianapolis Colts, I think Shane Steichen's on the he's on the hot seat.
As he should, because
Listen,
he,
first season Richardson gets hurt, shit happens, it's okay.
yeah,
But then now you're not proving anything. I think Steichen's on the hot seat. I think Shane Steichen's on the hot seat right now, brother.
yeah. I mean, he has to be, knowing that so far his his pick is blowing it against Daniel Jones. Like,
You know what? Random thought here. Kind of, I'm actually thinking of a top five for next week. Our top five NFL coaches who might be on the hot seat this year. Come on, that'll be a fun one.
that would be a fun one, but
So you want
I
to?
don't know. Sure, we'll think about it.
We'll maybe do that next week.
By the way, we have a top 5 today, but
Yeah, we do. We'll get to that in a bit. We promise.
yeah, um,
But anyway, yeah. So NFL preseason comes to an end, which means
mhm.
the season starts in 13 days. But who's counting? I am.
Yeah,
Okay. Now, there is something going on in Dallas, a reminder of how terrible an owner slash person Jerry Jones is.
can you believe this, Bill? I mean,
Micah Parsons is your top defensive player, and you're just leaving things in freaking limbo?
it's not just limbo; they're in an impasse. Like, this is bad.
The season starts in less than 2 weeks.
This is bad. For those of you that haven't been paying attention, there's a contract dispute between Dallas Cowboys and Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons sometimes practices, sometimes doesn't. Does like a hold in type of thing. Isn't willing to participate in any activity until he gets his contract. Um,
And rightfully so.
Yeah. Now Jerry Jones has been on a media tour. He's been promoting whatever documentary that's out there, whatever it is. Um, uh, and Jerry Jones recently made an appearance on Michael Irvin's podcast. Of course he would. Um, and had some strong comments, not only about Micah Parsons, but about his agent, David Mulugheta. Um, when going about his contract negotiations, first of all, he said that he appreciates Micah Parsons and he wants him to be a cowboy. But he had also mentioned that Jones and Micah had been going back and forth with each other without his Micah Parsons agent. And not only have been they've been talking about length of contract, but they've also been talking about the monetary aspect too. So the money that he would get. And of course, when Jerry Jones does that, apparently speaking, and of course, this is not the first time Jerry Jones has negotiated contract without an agent. He did it also with Dak Prescott as well. But apparently, they came to a monetary agreement between the two of them. Um, and he said this on Michael Irvin's podcast: when we wanted to send details to the agent told us to stick it up our ass.
So Micah Parsons told that to Jerry Jones.
No, this is what the agents. This is what Jerry Jones said. The agent said.
Oh.
There's no, of course, there's no. Obviously, we can't clarify that. There's no, um, nothing, no paper trail whatsoever, any proof that he said that. Um, I've agreed. This is him continuing his quote. I've agreed to give more money than has ever been given in terms of guaranteed money than anyone ever has as far as a defensive player. I've done that. Now I'm the cat that writes the check. Now Mike has got 3 years left with the Cowboys. He got 3 years. At some point, somebody has to have a say over the other. At some point, it has to be that way. My job is managing the check. Micah's got to do the playing. Where's the least important part of the whole equation that we're talking about? The attorney or the agent. He works for Micah. Um, and of course, he goes on talking about how basically how the agent after the agent stepped in, he messed things up. That's essentially what's going on here. And he made it very clear, hey, look, I can delay these contract talks. Micah has 3 years left on his contract. He has the final year of the rookie deal. He got a fifth-year option on top of the franchise tags.
Yes.
So, impasse. Strong words from Jerry Jones, I must say. That is some strong, strong, strong words coming out of him. I don't know what Jerry's thinking. Like, if I'm being real with you, what do you mean leave the agent out of it? No, he's an
You're
agent.
supposed to talk to the agent.
Exactly. And I get why he's complaining about it because he did talk the money aspect with Micah without the agent. But the agent's job is to represent his client. So
Oh, absolutely.
you have to go through the agent. Like I don't know why Jerry Jones all of a sudden thinks he can play victim and all of a sudden that everyone will be on his side. Nobody's on your side. Not even your players are on your side. So clearly there is a major issue going on in Dallas, and there's a chance that he may not play week one against the Eagles, and that's gonna be tough, Bill.
Oh, that's going to be a tough one.
Like, how do
That is
you?
going.
How, I cut you off, Bill. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that is how are you gonna do this? It's like I think they need to sit down, they need to get this figured out,
Yeah.
And like, listen, I'm a Giants fan. I hate the Cowboys, but I'm actually feeling for Micah Parsons right now because Jerry Jones is a dumbass.
Yeah. The thing that I'm confused about
Yes.
is why all of a sudden go after the agent that has done nothing to you, that is just trying to represent his client. Um, because not only that, but because you're going after the agent, because you're going after the player, you're causing more of a rift than there has to be. You're making things a little more uglier than it needs to be. And it's just rough. It's just rough to see, to be honest with you. Like, I don't know why Jerry Jones continues to play these games and think he can get away with it. You
Yeah. No, I totally agree. This is just a dumbass people doing dumbass things.
Yeah,
Um,
which is absolutely brutal. Now,
this is just absurd.
yeah. Do you want to see Micah Parsons well, I still call it Twitter, but X page?
Go
Would
right
you,
ahead.
would you like to see the cryptic message that he's sending out right now?
Let's see it.
Micah Parsons, Penn State 2021.
Oh,
This is his. Bill, you're gonna appreciate this as a Catholic. Micah 7:8. Even if I fall, I will rise. The Lord is my light.
hallelujah.
That's his reaction to Jerry Jones. And Jerry Jones did it to himself. He did it to
No,
himself.
he did.
Like, what are you thinking?
Jerry, you shot yourself in the foot here.
What are you thinking, bro? So I have no idea. Right now, we know this is at an impasse. No one's coming to the table. They're not talking. Um, this is bad. I think of the old ops guy in this situation.
Oh, I'm sure he's getting ready to have a stroke.
What does the old ops guy think? Old ops guy, if you're watching us, let's see if he is. Sometimes he just pops up out of nowhere on these.
Oh, hey, old ops, we know you're watching.
You know.
We know you're watching, Mark.
Yeah. By the
Come
way,
on in. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
yeah. By the way, for those of you paying attention to our YouTube channel, you haven't seen Old Ops Guy's shows this week. He's taking a week to chill out. So we wish him the best. We hope he's okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's doing fine. He's doing fine.
Yeah.
We had
Uh,
to go to his house yesterday to poke him to poke him with a stick to see if he's still alive. So
yeah. Yeah, but we don't want to poke the bear too much because he might get a little upset. No,
just kidding. We're not poking him with sticks. He's okay.
we love you, Mom. We love you.
Yeah,
Um,
we just hope, and I think he should be back to doing more stuff soon because his kids are gonna be going back to school in like the next
yeah,
2.
yeah, he'll be on. I think he'll be on Sunday with us on Batter Up.
Yeah,
Uh,
bro, can you believe it? We're like halfway through August already.
yeah, man. Well,
Like
September's next week.
September is not this coming Monday, next Monday. God,
Mhm.
summer just flew by.
Crazy,
I felt like just yesterday it was the first day of summer, and now
yeah.
in about 2 weeks the kids are gonna be going back to school.
Kids going back to school. Kids are already back to school over where I'm at. So, you know, uh,
You know, what do you think is better? Sorry, this is not a sports related topic. Starting school in like late August, but finishing in late May, or ending in June, or starting in early September and finishing in June. Which what do you think is better?
Can we do a September to May type of situation? Like, you know, look, growing up, I left. The school year ended for me when I was in school in July, so it's like I barely had a summer to really think about it. So, uh,
Well, yeah, because you literally, because usually the last, literally they go into like the end of June,
yeah,
and by when you're 1 week into summer vacation, it's already 4th of July.
yeah. So it's not
And
really a summer. Like if I could do a early September, so after Labor Day, think after Labor Day, so maybe that like Wednesday, whatever, to late May, I'll be okay with that.
because you know what it's like when we started college, when I was in college, and we had that from late August to mid to late May.
Mhm.
It was like, you know what? It's like, here's the thing.
Yeah,
It's like I remember because we would start in like late August. I remember my brother who was still in high school at the time.
yeah.
He was who was in high school at the time. He would always bust my chops like, I get a week, I get an extra week to sleep in, and I'm like, but it's like when class ends in mid-May. When class ends in mid-May, it's like you got half of May,
Yeah.
all of June, and all of July,
Mhm.
and a majority of August.
Yeah, you get a Phineas and Ferb summer, essentially, you know?
Yeah, you get half of May, all of June, all of July, and a majority of August.
There was even that one year after my first year of college, like we were done on my birthday. You know, like we were done. Like it's over, you know? Um so that's what I mean, you know, we got the true summer vacation, the Phineas and Ferb type summer vacation, you know, where we have
There's
all
108 days of summer vacation, and school gets on
104,
just
104, 104.
140. As you can tell, I haven't watched Phineas and Ferb in God knows how long.
Um, yeah. September to late May. I
Yeah.
I don't like going to school in June. We had nothing. Before we move on, real quick, understand once the calendar hit June for us late goers to school, right? We sat. I kid you not, that entire month we would sit around because we were done with the curriculum. We were done. We had all the testing and everything. When we were done. We just sat around, watched movies, played games the entire month. We
I
did,
remember in high school, like the minute we were done with the curriculum, okay, time to review for Regents.
you know. Yeah, but that was Regents. At least, you know, that was a standardized test that everyone had to take.
You
It,
want to know something? I am not. I think they should not have standardized tests.
I think they're optional now, if I'm not mistaken.
You
Or
know
they,
what? Because
yeah,
you're not learning actual. You're just teaching to the test.
right.
You're just like shoving it down these kids'
Yeah,
throats.
you're teaching them how to memorize for an exam. But I think they've changed the requirements. I don't think that they're no longer required to do that. Um, but in any case,
But no, you're just shoving these information down your kids' throats so they can spit it out on a test.
yeah. But like
And then guess
I'm
what? After
telling
that,
you,
they're probably never going to remember it again.
yeah, you know, but that's my point though, is like, you know, we go to school until basically the end of June and all for what? Standardized tests. And then after the testing, you're just sitting there doing nothing.
Well, what they did
I like
in
that.
my, and we'll get back to sports in a minute, people, I promise.
Yeah.
But what they did with us is they would have classes and
Yeah. They do the same thing with us. The classes were done.
usually mid-June, and then they would have a period where we would go in for testing.
Yeah, so yeah, that they did the same thing. But was that first week of June where it was like the last week of classes, and then we would go in for testing. Yes.
And let me tell you, I do not miss those Regents days. I do not miss them at all.
I don't think anyone does. Even though I actually did very well in the Regents exams, I think a lot of people don't miss it. Yeah,
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I failed my earth science Regents in ninth grade.
yeah,
And usually that they say that's the hardest Regent. And for those of you who don't know, okay, we live in New York.
yeah,
So for those of you who don't know, if you fail your Regents in June, if you want, you can retake it in August.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Um,
You can retake it in August.
yeah. Um,
And I was given the option saying, hey, since you failed it in June, if you want to retake it in August, you can go right ahead.
yeah.
And and they said, but my teacher who's saying, you know what, just take the bio regions next year. It's going to be much easier.
Well, also, did you know that that was the required exam for science? Did you know that?
What? Bio?
Yeah.
No, well, I think so because I remember thinking that, you know what, if I fail the bio regions,
You'll have more
then yes, I'm retaking it in August.
you have to because that's the Regents exam that you have to take in order to uh graduate. So yeah. But again, I'm sure I am very positive that those tests are no longer required. Which is good. That's better, but still. Um in any case, back to sports for a second. Um um
So yeah, before we got on that rant about our flawed education system,
yeah, which is
um,
flawed everywhere. It's
what was
terrible.
that?
It's terrible everywhere. Education is terrible everywhere. Um,
But yeah, so to sum up what we were previously talking about before we got into the rant, Jerry Jones is an idiot. Just,
yeah,
just
pay
let
your
him
guy.
sign the damn contract and let's get it over with.
Pay your guy. You know,
He's your guy. Sign him.
like I'm sorry, man. Like, look, oh, and let's just say Micah and Jerry actually did come to an agreement financially. So they got the agreement. We're done. You had TJ Watt break the getting paid. You had Miles Garrett getting paid. They already broke whatever you probably agreed to money wise. Raise the price, raise it up a little bit, and make sure he's ready to play week one against the Eagles. You cannot afford to go long periods without Micah Parsons. It'd be a mistake. So uh, we'll monitor that situation. Hopefully they get a contract done soon. Um, We already talked about the Giants. The Jets play later on tonight. They face the Eagles again. The Aaron Glenn resting his starters, so starters aren't playing. I think that's a mistake. I think everyone should play. But I get it. You don't want to cause injury for a game that doesn't mean anything. So uh, we have a big series at Yankee Stadium. Yankees Red
Yes,
Sox.
and game one goes to the Bo Sox.
That was rough to watch. And look, it's baseball. Look, I can't get on the Yankees. Look, it was a good game. Sometimes you play a game of chess and you make the wrong move. You
Yeah,
know,
but they better at least split this series because
and I agree with you 100%.
I think this is probably the most important series of the year.
Well, I think what this series is going to determine, because it's a four-game set, what the series is going to determine is unless there's a free fall by one of these teams, Yankees most likely. Um, this series is going to determine who gets the top wild card spot, and that is
Yes.
the Yankees are still chasing the Blue Jays. Both the Yankees and Red Sox are chasing the Blue Jays for the division, but the Blue Jays are in good. They're in great hands. I know they have been playing the greatest baseball of late, but they're in good hands. Like they're in a good spot. So this is really for the top wild card spot. And then the other team is just they're gonna have to figure out how do we stay in the playoffs and stuff. So, and then of course on the Yankees end, obviously going back to the Yankees for a second, um, the Yankees need to beat the Red Sox. Like I'm getting sick and tired of losing to this team. I'm sick and tired of being owned. Let's be honest, the Red Sox own the f out of us.
Oh, they do.
So I'm sick and tired of that too. Um, so Yankees still hold a top wild card spot. 1.5 games up on the Red Sox. That could obviously change this weekend. So we'll monitor that. Um, nobody was talking about the Kansas City Royals last week, but all of a sudden they're within striking distance of a playoff spot. It just goes to show you, Bill, how weak the American League is. I wonder who said that in the beginning of the season.
You.
I keep hearing the American League is not weak. What are you talking about? They have a lot of strong suitors. Really? Really?
Yeah.
Like we were talking about for the past 2 weeks about how the Astros are in danger. That's obviously not the case. The Astros are in danger of losing their division lead to the Mariners. Mariners have since teared off, but we were talking about that. We were talking about the Guardians. Guardians are terrible. We were talking about the Guardians possibly overtaking the Tigers. You don't have those conversations in the National League. National League, 1 through 6, you know who's in the playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, but no, that how Royals are in striking distance of a playoff spot. That really shows you how screwed up, how weak the American League really is.
We were talking about the Texas Rangers. We were scared of the Texas Rangers, Bill, right? The Texas Rangers are now 3 games under 500.
You know what? This realignment, if it does away with American National League, then whatever. Whatever. Who cares? At least we're gonna have tougher leagues, and
I'm looking at the National League wild card picture.
yeah.
The only beef I have with the National League is the fact that the Mets suck. But other than that, the wild card teams have 70 wins. Yankees and Red Sox are approaching that. But top five of the teams have at least 70 wins. American League, most of them are still in their 60 wins. I'll leave it at that.
So yeah, we're now getting into the home stretch of we're in the last month of the regular season for Major League Baseball.
Yep. And
Like I said, this is probably the most important series of the year for the Yankees right now.
yeah, yeah. And it sets the tone. It'll set the tone for what could be the playoffs. We'll obviously have more on that on Batter Up. Bombers banter. We'll do that sometime into probably next week.
Yeah, you know what? We'll talk about that. That's an off-air
Yeah,
discussion.
well, yeah, yeah. By the way, I do have to talk to you because I do have plans for next week, so I want to make sure that I run it by you. But
Oh, you're leaving me now? Thanks.
Well, I don't want to. I don't want to say anything, but yeah. Um, no, no, Bill, I would never do that. Kidding
Yeah.
me? Never. Um, big series with the Yankees. Um, so it's time for top five.
Fab!
Top five.
Okay. So if you remember last week, we counted down our top five most overrated athletes. This week we're going another direction. This week we're counting down our top five most underrated athletes.
Oh boy.
The ones that really don't get a lot of, the ones that don't really get a lot of recognition.
Yeah.
So I would say these are our top five most underrated athletes. And before we begin, Reg, have you ever realized there's more fights with overrated than underrated?
Yes.
There's more fights with overrated and underrated. I wonder why. So yeah, here we go. Our top five most underrated athletes.
Okay.
All right, Reg, you ready for my number five?
Number five, you.
Bernie Williams.
Okay. Why
I
burning?
What was that?
Why burning?
Well, here's the thing. I feel like Bernie, his career sticks 297, 2,336 hits, 287 home runs, 1,257 RBIs. He's won four World Series, four Golden Gloves, Silver Slugger, was a 1998 AL batting champion. I feel like when it comes to the pillar of that Yankee dynasty in the late 90s and early 2000s, when it comes to that Yankee dynasty, I feel like Bernie is overlooked. They talk about Derek Jeter, they talk about Mariano Rivera, Andy Pettitte, Jorge Posada. They don't really talk about Bernie that much. And listen, the reason why Bernie is not part of the core four is because he wasn't there for that last
Mm.
World Series in 2009.
Yeah.
But no, Bernie, I would say of that 90s Yankees team, I would say he's very overlooked. He was actually, him and Jeter were two of my favorite Yankees growing up. So,
Yeah. I mean, as much as the core four, let's be real about the core four. The core four is the core four. You know, Posada, Rivera, Jeter, Pettit, like they're the Yankees we often think about. I don't think the Yankees win anything without Bernie Williams.
I
I'm
agree.
I'm calling it like it is. Good one, Bill. That's a good number five. I like that.
And you want to know some, and also he plays guitar, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think has he won a? I think he's won a Grammy.
Has he?
I think so. In any case, by the way, Bernie Williams, I think you should be in the Hall of Fame.
Oh,
Uh,
I think so too.
I think it is a absolute disgrace that the baseball writers are not voting. So yeah,
Okay, he was nominated for a Grammy, but he didn't
nominated.
win.
You didn't win it. All right, my mistake, but still.
But hey, it's still no. Wait, no, no, yeah, he was nominated. He didn't win.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, what's your number five?
I'm gonna go football here. Nate Moses is gonna like this. The quarterback Jim Kelly. Now,
Okay.
now, of course, people are gonna call me crazy. I feel like even though the Super Bowl Bills were definitely um celebrated at some point, I felt like they got more hate at the time when they were making the Super Bowls. And obviously there was a lot of satisfaction for when they lost those Super Bowls. They went to four straight Super Bowls. No quarterback has done that ever. Crazy, right?
Absolutely.
So in that sense, like you got to give that respect. And I don't think I feel like that in itself gets underrated and undervalued about the type of quarterback Jim Kelly was. The fact that he led. And I know, yes, Frank Reich actually one of those playoff games, let it come back, whatever, cool, whatever, fine. But Jim Kelly was the quarterback of those teams. He was the guy. So I don't think he's properly rated. I think his contributions are often um, overlooked as well.
Fair enough. All right. You ready for my number four?
Move forward.
Scottie Pippen.
That's a good one.
Because, even though, okay, I'm about to read some stats, and you probably would say, like, seriously, he's underrated. Six-time NBA champion, seven-time NBA All-Star. Third, he's been, he's been NBA All-Star Game MVP. But here's why I say he's underrated. Because I feel like, during that time, who was mainly getting the spotlight in those times?
Mhm.
Ma- Michael Jordan.
Yep.
And don't forget, there was a brief time that Michael Jordan retired
Yeah.
after his father was sadly murdered.
Mhm.
Scottie Pippen basically had to be the leader of that team while Jordan was retired.
Yeah.
Pippen had to be the leader. And then we all know Jordan comes back, and then Michael Jordan probably says to Scottie Pippen, "Hey, Scottie, thanks for holding down the fort while I was gone. I'll take it from here." But no, you gotta give Scottie Pippen credit, though.
Mhm.
This was the guy, he played great. The guy was great. But I felt like at this point he was very overshadowed by Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He was very overshadowed by Michael Jordan. And and again, he held down that team when Jordan was retired. So my number four is Scottie Pippen. Reg?
My number four goes to the great Venus Williams.
Ah, okay.
So
So backdoor seat.
yeah, rightfully so. Serena's the better tennis player. We all know that. Uh, but keep this in mind, Bill. Um, by the way, I don't know if you're watching because we don't really talk about tennis. She made an appearance recently in Washington for the City Open, and want to know the reason why she did it?
Why?
To get health insurance coverage.
Really?
Yeah, she's like,
We can appreciate her
I
honesty.
need health insurance, so I came back to play. What? Crazy enough. By the way, she did very well in that tournament. But you have to understand something. She's won seven Grand Slams, five of them at Wimbledon. Um, and get this, Bill, 2002, she became the first black woman in the Open era to become world number one.
Wow.
And of course, that is obviously overshadowed by her sister's dominance in the sport for nearly 20 years. So, like, I think um, she's one of the greats, hands down, and certainly needs more respect. Um, and people do respect her, but I don't think she gets enough. Definitely underrated. Venus Williams, number four.
All right. My number three, I have to put it here for sentimental reasons.
Of course, yeah.
And because he was actually my first football jersey, one of my dad's favorite players, Phil Simms.
Okay, that's an interesting one. Okay.
Phil Simms, okay. Two Super Bowl rings, okay, fine. We'll say one because he got hurt the second season, was out for the year. But nah, Phil Simms, always a giant. He was his career 4,647 passing attempts, 2,567 completions. But you got to know this. He has the highest completion percentage in a Super Bowl with 88% and has the highest passer rating in a Super Bowl with 14 attempts with 150.9, both in Super Bowl 21. I feel like, he really led the Giants that season in Super Bowl 21 to win a to win the Super Bowl. Is he Hall of Fame worthy? I don't think so. But he really helped led that team on offense while LT did on defense. So that's why I think his leadership in that season is very overlooked.
Interesting.
And you want to hear a fun fact?
Go for it.
Okay, you know that famous Super Bowl, that famous Disney commercial that they show after the Super Bowl? Like,
Yeah.
for instance, this year they would go, you hear the "When you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are." And then the announcer, Jalen Hurts, we'll use the current one. "You and the Philadelphia Eagles have just won the Super Bowl. What are you going to do next?" "I'm going to Disney World."
But by the way, what Bill's about to tell you, this is documented, but go ahead.
Phil Simms was actually the first one to do that, believe
Yeah.
it or not,
Yeah.
because he actually first turned it down because it was right before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They called him and John Elway in,
Yeah.
and and I think they were with the NFL commissioner and someone from no, I think it was someone from Disney. They called him and John Elway in, and they said, "Hey, we're starting a new marketing campaign."
Yeah.
So after the game, when we regardless of who wins, we're gonna have, you know, like if the Broncos win, we're gonna have John Elway. You and the Denver Broncos have just won the Super Bowl. What are you gonna do next? Or Phil Simms, you and the New York Giants have just won the Super Bowl. What are you gonna do next? Regardless of who wins, you're one of you're gonna say, "I'm going to Disney World." Phil Simms at first just walked out, saying, "I'm not doing it."
Yeah. The reason being was he didn't want to jinx um the Super Bowl. He didn't want to think, hey, look, the Giants, we have a chance to win. He didn't want to jinx it by saying we're going to Disney World.
And they told him they told him like the Friday before the Super Bowl, they're like, "Hey, Elway agreed to do it.
Yeah.
Elway agreed to do it if the Broncos win." And I think he just reluctantly did because the story I heard is after the Giants won that Super Bowl,
Mhm.
they're all they're like, "Hey, Phil, the people from Disney are here and they really want." He's okay, fine, bring them over.
Yeah. While he was
And then
selling.
he's like, "Okay, fine, I'll do it." And they're like, "Phil Simms, you and the New York Giants have just won the Super Bowl. What are you gonna do next?" He just like quickly said, "I'm going to Disney World."
Yeah.
Like you could tell he didn't want to do it.
Yeah. And
I think he said, "I'll go to Disney World. Now give me my freaking paycheck."
yeah. And why would you? Well, why would you do that? Now, of course, in today's world, everyone does it. Like it's no
Because
problem.
I'm sure the mouse gives them a nice paycheck when they do it.
Oh yeah. But I can understand, with again, this was, you're talking about what, 1986, 1987. So, you know, at the time, this was new, and I could see the reluctance. So yeah, to totally understand that.
Okay, so that's my number three. Phil Simms. What's your number three, Reg?
Um, my number three, um, going to baseball this time. I'm gonna go with the great Goose Gossage.
Okay.
Here's why, Bill.
Let's hear it.
Um, First things first, one of the great relievers ever.
Oh,
Uh,
absolutely.
Three-time AL saves leader, um, 1975, 78, and 1980. Um, Nine-time All-Star, and I, I think, for someone that, you know, during that time, when relief pitching and closing was starting to really ramp up as like a very important, very necessary position. Um, like, being in that top 10 in saves, a bunch of times. Um, Being among vote getters for the Cy Young, and then of course the many years he's with the Yankees and closing out games. He was a great closer and did it for 22 years. I don't think he gets enough credit for being at the top of his game at the time. Now, of course, since then we've had this massive rise in relief pitching. Trevor Hoffman obviously, bested that. Rivera topped Hoffman. So it's like, but I really think he was one of the pioneers of that like big time relief pitcher that I don't think gets enough credit for. My opinion, I don't know if you feel the same way, but Goose Gossage, my number three.
Okay. I can see that argument. That's a very interesting argument.
Right.
Okay. My number two,
Um,
Kurt Warner.
okay, that's a good one.
He is, I feel like in those 2000s, he's when, you think of Tom Brady, the Mannings, Drew Brees, Philip Rivers. I feel like Warner is not really, he's kind of overlooked in that regard.
Yeah.
When you
Well,
look at that late 90s, early 2000s
he
type
had a
that
late, he had a late,
quarterbacks that we grew up with.
he had a late start to his career. But yeah,
But, guys, 4,070 passing attempts, 2,666 completions. He's won, he's He won and was MVP in Super Bowl 34, two-time NFL Most Valuable Player, 2008 Walter Payton Man of the Year, four-time Pro Bowler, two-time NFL pass and touchdown leader, three-time NFL completion percentage leader, and two-time passing rating leader.
yeah.
And and he was the NFL passing yards leader. I feel like he gets very overlooked
Hmm.
because it's all about the Mannings. It's all about, the Mannings or Brady or Breeze or or Rivers. I feel like he just doesn't get brought up in the conversation enough.
Yeah.
And, yeah, he kind of teeted off towards the end, but who doesn't? He got a little late start to his career, as seen in the movie Underdog.
Great film, by the way.
I have yet to seen it, but I've heard good things about it. But no, Kurt Warner, I think, is very overlooked.
Yeah.
I think Kurt Warner is very overlooked. So yeah, my number two is Kurt Warner.
All right. Number two, Clay Thompson. And I'm again, it's the reason is because with those Warriors teams, um, that went on to win so many championships. He was a part of it. However, a lot of attention was on the Stephen Currys, and then eventually a lot of the attention went on to Kevin Durant. Even Draymond Green got a little more credit than Klay Thompson. Not saying that Klay Thompson wasn't a major factor, and everyone certainly knew that. But I feel like Without his great three-point shooting, I don't know if the war. Look, Curry can obviously do things on his own. He can carry that team no problem. But Klay Thompson being the second splash brother and hitting those three-pointers when in clutch time, when they needed it, I don't know if the Warriors, they'll probably win a couple, but I don't know if they win all those championships together. I feel like that's a little overlooked as well. I don't think the Warriors truly realize the value of having someone like a Clay right next to uh Curry. I'm sure the team does, but other people, they look at Steph Curry. That's all we hear about with the when it comes to the Warriors dynasty. All we hear about is Steph Curry. He's my number two.
He's your number two.
Yep,
All right. You ready for who my number one is?
go for it.
And going back to baseball, Stan the Man Musial.
He was my honorable mention, but go ahead.
Because, okay, here are his stats. He's 24-time All-Star, three-time World Series champion, three-time NL MVP, 43, 46, 48, seven-time NL batting champion, 43, 46, 48, 50, 51, 52, and 57, two-time NL RBI leader, Hall of Fame, and all the Century team. Now, I know what you're thinking, okay, why is he underrated? Well, again, I think he's very overlooked because, okay, you got to look at this. Okay, his lifetime career batting average 331, 417 OBP, 559 slugging percentage, 976 OPS. And let me read you the other ones, these other players: 305, 374 OPB, 555 slugging percentage, 928 OPS. You know who player A is in that situation? Hank Aaron.
Hmm.
Player B, 327, 391, 466. Player B, Honus Wagner. Player D, 302 batting average, 384 on base percentage, 557 slugging percentage. You know who that is? Willie Mays. And player E, 325 batting average, 398 OBP, and 579 slugging percentage, and that is Jolton Joe DiMaggio.
Mm.
And so Stan Musial, who again I don't feel like gets talked about a lot, he has a higher batting average than Hank Aaron, Honus Wagner, Willie Mays, and Joe DiMaggio. And I feel like he was just wow. And yeah, and heard he was also a great guy too. Bob Costas, who gave the eulogy at Stan Musial's funeral, quoted Mickey Mantle saying, "He was a better player than me because he was a better man than me." So yeah, my number one most underrated athlete of all time is Stan the Man Musial.
Okay.
All right, Reg, what's your number one? I'm curious.
All right. My number one, Scottie Pippen.
Okay.
And I say this with respect to Michael Jordan. Hey, you don't win those championships without Pippen. Let's be real. Michael Jordan can become one of the great players of all time. Without Pippen, I don't think he wins a lot of those championships. They won six. Great defender, great scorer, big time guy. You needed him in that lineup. Plain and simple, Bill. He's my number one. And you were dead on about this time when when Jordan left the Bulls to focus on all this personal stuff, and eventually Jordan played baseball for a little bit. Um, it was Pippen that was really truly leader of that team, and he gave up a lot of money. This is another thing about Scottie Pippen. He gave up a lot of money over the years. He could have became one of the highest paid to play in his position, but he gave all that up. Obviously, don't get me wrong, he made plenty of money in his career, but he could have gotten a lot more, and he didn't. Just saying. Number one, Pippen. Underrated. Incredibly underrated.
I agree. Like I said, he held down the fort when Michael Jordan was
Yeah.
retired. So you got to give Scottie Pippen credit.
Yeah.
All right. So I think in the words of Imagine Dragons, dude, there's nothing else to say now.
If you like what you see, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can hit the like button on this video. Um, and then press that button for notifications, follow our socials. Um, Stay tuned for more content from SIAN. We'll have Batter Up this weekend. I'm sure Mike Rifkin will at some point be doing his whole spiel about football with Noah Trombley and everything. By the way, we do have breaking news for you football fans out there. This concerns the DC area Commanders. Brian Robinson Jr., running back. It has been traded to the 49ers. Uh,
Wow.
so that's the we were he was sort of in limbo in Washington, given one his contract status, but also because the Commanders have too many running backs on their team. That you know could be better than Brian Robinson. But he goes to the 49ers. We're still getting word on the details. We're still a little fuzzy there, but we'll get you that pretty soon. I'm Danny Boy Reg.
I'm Bill Corpus Crispy Murphy. Thanks again to the Dugout of Millwood.
Mhm.
Go to www.thesportssanitynetwork.com. Check out our blogs, history, and check out our podcast available on all platforms. And here on YouTube, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thank you very much. So stay safe and take care.